Good evening and welcome to NEWSBREAK Live. I'm Hiba Sama. Thanks for joining us. Torrance fire prevention specialists were spreading awareness on how to prevent fires in your home today. In honor of National Fire Prevention Week at North Torrance Library, people came out to learn steps they can take to stay safe in their homes. This year's theme of Look, Listen, and Learn encourages people to install smoke detectors, look for places a fire could start, listen for the sound of the smoke alarm, and learn 2 ways out of every room, making sure all doors and windows leading outside open easily and they're free of clutter. Fire Week is commemorated during this time because of the Great Chicago Fire that took place from October 8th through the week. It killed more than 250 people and displaced more than 100,000 people. Torrance Fire also has plans to teach students in the Torrance Unified School District throughout the month with preparedness tips. You may want to head on over to Wilson Park soon. The park will have its new playground open for fun this week. Final safety inspections are underway, but city officials say it could open by tomorrow. The new playground is part of a decade-long program to improve cities' playgrounds. Now, today could be your lucky day to strike rich. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is up to $470 million. This makes it the 6th largest in Mega Millions history. The winner can choose a cash option of $265.3 million. This type of lottery starts out at $40 million and then rolls over if there is no winner. Also, the Powerball jackpot for Wednesday's drawing is up to $282 million. The Torrance Police Department is looking to hire people who want to keep pedestrians safe in the community. There are currently openings for crossing guards. Some of the duties they're expected to do are direct children going to or returning from school when crossing streets at assigned street corners, determining safest possible time to cross streets while also stopping traffic to allow people to cross. There will be an informative meeting next Wednesday at 5 p.m. at the Torrance Police Department if you're interested. A local from Torrance is continuing his family tradition by serving in the Army. Petty Officer First Class Stephen Wood is a Navy Aviation Administration man responsible for tracking aircraft hours, maintenance, and other inspections for aircraft, engines, and weapon systems. Wood is a 2010 West Torrance High School graduate from Torrance and is serving at the Fleet Readiness Center Southwest base at Naval Air Station North Island. The base serves more than 225 airframes and 35,000 components annually. He says his proudest accomplishment has been inspiring his junior sailors, teaching them and watching them succeed. The flavors of Hawaii are coming to the South Bay this week. There will be a festive luau this Friday at the newest Ono Hawaiian barbecue. It marks the continuous expansion and 75th location for the company. On the day of the grand opening, there will be Hawaiian performers and an offer of buy one, get one free for all food items during business hours. Ono Hawaiian barbecue features inspired plate lunches and island specialties like barbecue chicken, spam musubi, chicken katsu, and more. The restaurant is located at 1313-1 West Sepulveda Boulevard. And speaking of food, another eatery is also now open, serving up some delicious food in Torrance. Pizzoun on the boulevard had its official soft opening. Owners say the menu is limited right now, but they're adding a new item each day to it. Pizzoun makes organic pizza, salads, and grain bowls with locally sourced ingredients. Owners say they plan to use seasonal foods year-round and cook with the best quality of ingredients, which means the freshest and best tasting. Pizzoun is open 7 days a week from noon to 8 p.m. until its grand opening. There is some night construction underway this week that you may want to look out for. The city plans to have lane closures tonight through tomorrow morning on northbound Hawthorne Boulevard from 242nd Street to Pacific Coast Highway. There will be one lane open in each direction. Southern California Edison is working on underground electrical communication lines. This is prep work for the upcoming intersection widening project. The same closures will continue through Friday morning. If you enjoy art, there's a new exhibit in town that opened this week. Camino College Arts Gallery is proud to present Caminos and Passages, a collection of vibrant artwork and a small sampling of the collections of Los Angeles-based artist Raul de la Sota. The artist is one of Los Angeles' most important contributors to the recognition of Latino American artwork. Among the series or passages presented in this exhibition are acrylic paintings of intense cosmological images in which native spirits fly over dark mountain ranges depicting the origins of life. Enthusiasts will be able to see a range of artwork from media, pen and ink drawing, watercolor, fabric collage, and printmaking. El Camino College's art gallery is located on campus. It runs through November 1st. An international musical will unfold at the James Armstrong Theater very soon. Tickets are now on sale for the showing of Follies on Sunday, October 21st. The musical will give locals an up-close and personal showing of British theater with the musical Follies played in high definition on a giant screen. Stephen Sondheim's musical is being staged for the first time at the National Theater and broadcast live to cinemas. The production features a cast of 37 along with a 21-member orchestra. The National Theater Live takes performances from the London stage to cinemas and performing arts centers worldwide. Tickets are $17.50. For more information, head to torrancearts.org. Now let's get to the weather. Today there was a high of 73 degrees with an expected low of 61 tonight. Tomorrow it will get cooler with a high of 68. Then on Thursday, you can expect the high to be 71 degrees with a low of 60. A coffee giant is rolling out a new family care benefit package for their staff. Starbucks made the announcement today the company plans to provide their employees with 10 subsidized backup care days for children or adults. They partnered up with Care.com, a company that connects families and caregivers to make the new benefit possible. Employees can choose to pay $1 an hour for in-home care of children or adults, or $5 for a day of child care center. After the 10 days, workers pay the full cost for services offered by Care.com. Starbucks says they're adding these benefits to help support the needs of their staff who may have children or aging family members for care. The company noted that 2 million working parents quit their jobs in 2016 because of a lack of child care, according to the National Survey of Children's Health, and they're trying to help fill those gaps. The new benefit packages will go into effect January 2019. There are at least 16 Starbucks throughout the city of Torrance. The state of California is looking for people to claim their money. State Controller Betty Yee announced today that her office is safeguarding nearly $770 million in unclaimed cash belonging to Californians. The office is urging people to step up if they feel they have unclaimed financial property, including forgotten bank accounts, uncashed checks, insurance policy proceeds, stocks, and safe deposit box contents. Now, if you think you have unclaimed property, visit a state database for free and fill out a secure claim form for most property, but some items may need additional proof of ownership. Yee says that during the 2017 to 18 fiscal year, California property owners received about $309 million for nearly 580,000 claims. You can call 800-992-4647. There is no time limit for submitting a claim. Torrance Memorial Medical Center's tiniest patients were relocated to the newest campus thanks to a $40 million upgrade of the Hunt Patient Tower. Reporter Roxana Powell has the story.
From a young age, she is already a fighter. September Cisneros was born on July 18th. Her mother, Linda Howard, a first-time mom, was diagnosed with preeclampsia, a pregnancy complication characterized by high blood pressure and signs of damage to the organs.
Because the main plan was supposedly they were going to make her wait here at the hospital until she was 40 weeks. 40 weeks turned into, oh, you're giving birth tomorrow. And then you're giving birth tomorrow turned into, you know what, we're going to put you in the C-section in about 30 minutes.
Howard was taken into C-section where she gave birth to September, who was born at only 2 pounds.
It was very hard though because she had all of her wires on her and you need to be very careful when you hold her. I think that was the hardest part, was just seeing that how little she was and she had so many things that were on her when you just want her to be free and happy.
The family was few of the first patients that were able to stay in the new neonatal intensive center unit at Torrance Memorial Medical Center that has 25 private rooms completely equipped for newborn intensive care.
It helps us bond a lot better, that I'm very close to her when we're in here. We get to hold her all the time and we get to spend the night if we need to.
Family members can stay 24/7 in the new units or watch their baby through the video cameras. Howard appreciates everything the staff is doing for them.
One thing that I love is that they call her by her name. She's not just another baby here.
The new units and the staff gives the parents comfort that their little one is being taken care of.
And we've been here for 2 months now, so it's a little different, but I guess it makes us stronger as a family. So.
Reporting for City Cable, I'm Roxana Paul.
Thanks, Roxana. The NICU is level 3, which means sick newborns won't have to be transported to another facility for care. And here are some upcoming events. The Torrance Rosefoot Association is having its fundraiser today at Lazy Dog Restaurant and Bar until they close, which is 11 p.m. Print out a flyer from the Rosefoot Association's website and bring it in. Tickets are still on sale for the Halloween Ball at the Depot. This Sunday from 4 to 9 p.m., more than 700 people have purchased tickets for this spooktacular evening by Chef Schaefer. There will be live music, dancing, a silent auction, and much more. Tickets are $150 each. Well, in just 2 minutes, flu season is here. In just 2 minutes, Dr. Eric Nakkim from Torrance Memorial Medical Center will tell us how to beat it. We'll be back in just a few.
You can't sit here.
Don't add her to the chain.
It was just a joke.
We're not friends. Why are you talking to me?
He started it.
She's so gross.
Lame. Loser.
Weirdo.
I've said and done things before that I'm not proud of.
Just as I've been hurt by others.
The thing is, this is not who I am. And it's definitely not who I want to be.
I don't want to be cruel.
I don't want to spread gossip.
I don't want to be a body shamer.
I don't want to exclude anyone.
I don't want to make anyone feel lonely,
left out, hurt.
We have the power to be more.
We can create a kinder world.
It's not that hard.
We just need to stop.
take a moment,
And consider others.
before we speak.
And before we act.
Be more.
Be more.
Be more.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to the second half of NewsBreak Live, and joining me is Dr. Eric Nakkim, who is an emergency physician at Torrance Memorial Medical Center. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me here.
And we're talking about a hot topic that's all over the news, preparing for the flu season. And I'm sure that's something that's been on many people's mind, whether to get vaccinated or not. So let's talk about, it's underway, and this is just the beginning. Why should people get their shots now?
It's important to get your flu vaccination early because getting the flu shot does not instantly confer immunity for getting the flu. The way vaccines work is they utilize the body's own natural immune system to boost it to be specifically able to fight that particular virus. So that takes time. So typically it takes several weeks, if not even a month or more, to get full immunity from the flu vaccine. So the sooner you get it, the more likely you are to be protected by the flu shot.
So is this the ideal time to get it? Many people say, oh, I'm going to wait a little bit longer until the end of October.
Yeah, so although flu season is just barely getting started, and although typically we don't see the peak of flu season until usually sometime in January, the sooner you get it, the better, because you could be one of those unfortunate people to maybe be one of the early people to get the flu. So having the vaccination now, and the vaccines are widely available, will give you your best chances of being protected come peak season.
And we're going to just talk about this in a few minutes, steps people can take besides getting vaccinated. But for people who've never had a flu shot, I know this is a common conversation among people I know, because I get the flu shot every year. Many people don't get it at all. Is it something encouraged by doctors for people who've never had it done before to get one?
Yes, it is encouraged. We encourage anyone over, say, 6 months of age who is not, allergic to eggs or flu vaccines in the past. We encourage them to get that flu shot for two reasons. One, if you're thinking only about yourself, it can help you prevent you from getting the flu. Two, by you getting a vaccination, it helps prevent the general population from catching the flu from you. So, do it for yourself, but also do it for your loved ones if you're, want to avoid them getting sick from the flu.
6 months and older, you just mentioned seniors. Is there a particular demographic that should be getting them no matter what?
Yeah, so again, we do recommend that you get it if you're 6 months or older, but the very young and the very old are particularly susceptible to complications from influenza. Also, folks with underlying medical conditions, say underlying respiratory conditions like asthma or emphysema, COPD, that population is going to be more susceptible to some of the flu complications. So absolutely, we recommend that everyone, especially the very young, the very old, or those predisposed to, say, respiratory illnesses, get that vaccination.
Now, doctor, what do you expect this year in terms of people being infected by influenza? You saw this in the ER last year, so many people coming in after they get the flu symptoms. It's been reported by the CDC that there were more than 80,000 deaths just in the United States alone. So what do you expect this year? Can you foreshadow anything?
Yeah, so last year, you're absolutely correct, was a particularly bad year for influenza. Not so much that more people were getting the flu, but the particular virus that was prevalent last year was making people sicker. We call that virulence. So the higher the virulence, the sicker patients tend to get. So that's what made last year a very bad year for flu season with, about 80,000 deaths nationwide. In a typical flu year, it'll be somewhere, 20 to 40,000 deaths per year.
Wow.
Still bad, and we, want to prevent every death if we can.
Is there a particular type of virus that will be going around this year? Yeah,
so you had asked, are there any predictions or forecasts? Looking at what's going on in Australia this year, since they're in the southern hemisphere, they're, sort of in the tail end of their flu season now. But in Australia, it was a lighter than usual flu season, which is a good indication that it might be lighter here, but it's not just based on how things are going in Australia. It can also, it's also dependent on what type of population you're talking about. Oddly enough, it's sometimes related to school vacations and all that, when families are spending more time together and perhaps passing the flu virus around more. But our best educated guess is that this year will be lighter than last year. However, this does not mean that we should avoid getting the vaccination, because unfortunately, even in a light season, there is going to be that subset of folks who could get very sick or even die from the flu. So a vaccination is small pain in your arm, but for the benefits that you get from it, it's a it's a huge benefit, not just for you, but for the whole community.
What are some of the symptoms of the flu, and when should someone come into the emergency? I know last year many emergencies were flooded with people who had the flu symptoms, but is there a time when someone should be like, okay, this is the time for me to go to the ER?
Very, very good question. So influenza is generally a respiratory illness. So some of the common symptoms that you would see would be a cough, maybe some congestion, a fever, body aches, a sense of weakness. There can also be gastrointestinal symptoms such as vomiting or diarrhea. As far as, when do you go to the ER, just because you have a fever and just because you think you have the flu doesn't necessarily mean that you have to rush off to the emergency department. However, if you're having, significant shortness of breath or, serious chest pains, or if your loved one is just, say, acting confused, they're, disoriented, or they're complaining of severe headaches, those would be very good reasons to come to the emergency department to make sure you don't have any complications of the flu.
Okay.
Other times, if you just have a fever and you're suspicious that you may indeed have the flu because you failed to get that vaccination, if you're having a fever, body aches, that might be just a good opportunity to just call your doctor and ask what can be done. Perhaps they could schedule an office visit for you so you can get an antiviral medication like Tamiflu. Perhaps, they could give you further guidance. Obviously, if you show up at the ER, we're always going to take care of you.
Right.
We're not going to turn anyone away. But for the most part, with general flu symptoms, you wouldn't necessarily have to go to the ER unless you were having some serious, altered mental status, confusion, or serious difficulty breathing.
So because of last year, Torrance Memorial Medical Center this year is already gearing up for the flu season. So talk to me about how the setup is, if there are people that are going to come into the ER, what people can expect, because last year alone, reports show that there were 2,000 flu tests on patients that just stopped by Torrance Memorial with symptoms, right?
That's correct. At Torrance Memorial alone, we ran the flu test on about 2,000 patients, and a little over 500, I think it was around 550 of them or so, wound up being diagnosed as influenza positive. So the ER is set up to prepare for this surge in patients that we're expecting. Hopefully it's not as big a surge as last year, but we're ready. Some things that we have done to be prepared is, one, we've hired more staff for the flu season. They've obtained, I think, at least 14 extra nurses for the ER alone to accommodate this anticipated surge. Other things we're doing specifically in the ER is we've adopted a new rapid flu test.
Wow.
The old test was good, and we could get the turnaround time in about an hour. And you might think, oh, that's pretty fast, that's pretty good. But we always want to be more efficient so that we can provide more care to more people. And we have a new flu test available this year where the turnaround time is 20 minutes. The other nice thing about the current flu test that we're going to be using this year is we can do the test right there in the ER. So with the old system, we would have to take the test, send it off to the lab, also at Torrance Memorial, and then wait for the results. And even though our lab is super quick and super efficient, just that extra hour of waiting could mean, a few extra patients that we could have seen in that time. So we're all about, the whole mission of the hospital is to give excellent health care to the entire South Bay, and we take that mission very seriously in the ER. So anyone who's presenting to our door for whatever reason, flu or otherwise, we're going to make sure we give them the best of care.
Talk to me about the stay-at-home campaign. I found that very interesting for people who might not be able to come to the hospital if they have the flu.
Correct. There's some patients who are maybe, they have too many chronic illnesses, or maybe issues with transportation that don't allow them to necessarily just go off to it makes it difficult for them to go visit their doctor. So Torrance Memorial recognizes that need for this subset of patients. And so for these home health patients, they've arranged for flu testing at home. If the patient is diagnosed with the flu, they've arranged for home health nurses to check them out. They've arranged for Tamiflu flu antiviral medications to become readily available for them. Torrance Memorial is also stocking up on Tamiflu. You might have heard in news reports last year there's quite a shortage of Tamiflu. So anticipating the need, Torrance Memorial is stocking up. Even though the early indicators are maybe for a light flu season, we don't believe it until after the flu season is over. So we're going to prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Anything else you'd like to add? I know many viewers have asked about the flu shot in particular, the whole myth, if I get a flu shot, I'm going to feel sick or I'm going to get sick. I have to ask you, is that true? Is that false? What are your comments about that?
Yeah, so the flu shot typically will give you maybe a mild soreness in your arm. Some people perhaps can feel some mild body aches. Remember that these flu vaccines are designed on actual viruses that are attenuated or made, they're made so that they can't really make you sick. But if your body is building up an immunity to this particular virus via the vaccine, you might get some mild body aches. I think the majority of people who say, oh, I got my flu shot and then I got the flu, it's probably more coincidence that maybe they didn't get their flu shot early enough and they got their vaccine on a Monday and then maybe were having symptoms on a Tuesday. That's probably not from the vaccine. That's probably that you got either the flu or some other virus that coincidentally is making you sick at that time. So, yeah, unless you have some history of allergic reactions to flu vaccines, I wouldn't use that. I think that's more of a urban myth. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Nakkim, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the flu season?
Well, I just want to thank you for programs like this that really raise community awareness because, in the ER, I take care of patients one at a time, but what you're doing here by, enlightening the community is really helping thousands of people. So we appreciate the team effort between you and Torrance Memorial Medical Center.
Thank you, Dr. Nakkim. Have a great night.
All right. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, that does it for NewsBreak Live. If you ever have news or video that you'd like to share, please email us at newsbreak@torranceca.gov. Also, if you missed any part of the show, you can catch it on Torrance City Cable's YouTube page. Torrance City Council has the night off. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.